Okay, so we had homework last night. Yes?
Yes.
Very difficult homework to watch those scenes, yeah? Yeah. All right. We are going to be focusing our attention today on Act 2, Scene 2 at the very, very end of it. So the soliloquy at the end of it. Before we get started with everything, let's just do a little temperature control, okay? And we're going to take the temperature of Hamlet. So, you watched the scene last night. You saw him with the mousetrap, with the play within the play, right? So just very briefly on a scale of 1 to 5, okay, everyone has 1 to 5 right here on your hand, okay? I want you to just show me the number of fingers that go with his mental state. So 1 would be he's in control of his mental state. 2, yeah, kinda. 3, it's half and half. 4 is he's leaning toward the crazy. And 5 is he's kind of lost it. Okay, so based on your reading last night, just very briefly, 1 to 5, raise your fingers, please. Okay, we have between 3, 4, and a couple of 5s here. So thanks very much. You can put your hands down. Those of you with the 3s, raise your hand. Why is he a 3? Yeah, Bert.
Because when you said a couple classes ago, you said he wanted to seem like he was crazy to Polonices.
Polonius.
Oh, yeah. Polonius. Wrong story. And I don't think he's actually crazy.
You don't.
He's just putting on a show to think that he's crazy.
Okay. All right. Those of you who are 4s, why a 4? Why is he like leaning towards that? Yeah.
I think he's become like at first he was in control of it, like just acting, and now it's kind of gotten out of hand. He's kind of like losing it.
Okay. And how do you know that? Why do you say that?
Because at times he's very like calm and very like he's in control, and other times he's very like out of control.
Okay. Do you have a specific example of that?
Like the end of scene 2 where he's kind of like out of control, and then in other parts of scene 2 he's very calm and mellow.
Okay, someone help him out a little bit here. So he's saying he's kind of in control here. I just want a little bit of evidence to support that. Alex?
So when he was playing, he was making the comparison of him and the flute, and how he was being played like a flute, and the other person said he's not skilled enough, and then he like basically attacked him, and then he, in a second, he changed personalities and started playing it like a fool.
Yeah, so that whole idea, that whole scene where he's with the recorder, it's like up and then it's down and it's up. He's manipulative, but then he kind of loses it a little bit. So it's a really back and forth. All right, and John, I saw your hand raised for number 5. Did anyone else join John with number 5? All right, so John, why do you maintain that he has lost it?
I think it's completely off the deep end. At like how Alex said in the recorder scene, where he's talking to his friend, you pretty much played me like a flute, but you don't have the skills to play it.
Right.
So what am I then? Right, and how he attacked his friend. If he's his friend, you wouldn't necessarily attack him, even if you're in like a sane state of mind.
Yeah.
But in this crazed, sort of deranged state, you can pretty much do whatever you want, like not feel bad about it. So he attacked his friend, even though it is his friend. But also at the end of that scene, if you're playing crazy, you would probably like go back to your normal self when you're completely alone.
Yeah.
But it was when he was alone that he was continued in this crazy state of mind.
Okay.
Like he's talking to the camera, but you can like see in his eyes like he's deranged.
Yes, yeah. And so that is where we're going for today. So we're going to be looking at the instance when he is alone. And we're going to try and dissect some of the words that he's using to really get a sense of what is his true mental state. Because he can say these things to people, right? But is it an act? Is it not an act? It's what matters when he's alone that really gives us an idea of what is truly going on in his mind. Okay, so the way that we're going to attack this today is we're going to go through soliloquy. So you all have your iPads out or have a partner that has an iPad out. We have Google at our fingertips, right? So you tell me, what is a soliloquy? What is the definition of a soliloquy? What can we put on the board here for soliloquy? What are you guys finding?
Can there be any definition?
Yeah, as long as it's has truth to it. Lauren?
An act of speaking one's thoughts aloud by oneself or regardless of any hearers, especially by a character in a play.
Okay, so speaking thoughts out loud. Okay, especially in a play. Can we add anything to this? Lucy, do you have anything to add?
No, I have the same one.
Okay. Any other?
A dramatic or literary form of discourse.
Okay.
A character talks to himself or herself to reveal themselves.
Yes. Okay, anything else to add? Yeah, John?
Like what Lauren said, talking to oneself. Usually, person's thinking out loud, talking to themselves literally about their emotions, thoughts, or feelings.
Okay, so most of the time when we employ a soliloquy, it is to get to the emotional state of the character, right? Colleen?
Uttering one's thoughts aloud without addressing any person.
Okay, so not addressed to a person or another person. Good. Lucy?
Well, this kind of goes along with what Lauren said, but a speech in a drama in which a character alone or as if alone discloses their innermost thoughts.
Okay. All right, so speaking thoughts out loud, right? Especially in a play, a dramatic form, the character talks to him or herself. It's not addressed to any particular person. And this is the important part here, is that it usually kind of associates with the emotional state of the character. So why is Shakespeare using this form, this dramatic device? Because this is a dramatic device, right? Why do we use the soliloquy? Part of it just has to do with the fact of the technology of the day. So, you know, if you're watching soap operas today, how do you know what the inner state or the emotional state of these characters is? They have the voiceover in the back, right? Do you have any, were you going to say something
I
different?
was just saying, like, the way they're talking, their body language.
Yeah, and I mean, you can film a character by him or herself, right? And the lips don't have to be speaking. But in Shakespeare's day, the lips needed to be flapping in order to get the words out to the audience. So that's really why a soliloquy was born. Now, some of the students in the other class were like, well, how come they're not using a narrator? Well, narrators, that device didn't really exist, and if it did exist, it's amateur. It's amateur. Using a narrator is amateur, as we have, talked about in some of our own projects, right? So the soliloquy is the truest form here of getting to know what the character is feeling inside. All right, so what are we going to be doing today? We're going to be looking at the soliloquy at the end of that scene, which is the one that you were referring to try and figure out what's really going on with Hamlet at this point in time. So I think by the end, we're going to take another temperature and really see, is he a 3, a 4, or a 5 at this point in time. Okay, so the way that we're going to go about this is we're going to do a little exercise called interpolated questions. So, do you guys remember this soliloquy from yesterday?
Yeah.
Okay, and you remember reciting it and all that fun stuff. Okay. So this is an example of what we're going to be doing. You'll see the whole soliloquy up here. So we are going to pretend, we're going to take "'Tis now the very witching hour," which is our soliloquy. We're going to pretend that Horatio's in the room at the same time. Okay? And so that Hamlet is not truly alone. We're going to turn the soliloquy, something in which a character is on stage by himself, and we're going to mess with it a little bit. So we're putting Hamlet or Horatio there. Why Horatio? Why Horatio and not Rosencrantz and Guildenstern?
Because Horatio is his actual friend.
Yeah, we can trust Horatio. Okay? So we're going to put Horatio in the room, and we're going to turn it into a dialogue. Yes?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So what it's going to look like is this. So this is the original soliloquy. right? And we interrupt that original soliloquy. So I've done this for you, or for us, in the beginning here. So remember the soliloquy from yesterday. Why, what an ass am I? This is most brave. Horatio's going to interrupt it and say, oh, Hamlet, it's a horrible thing to say about yourself. Why do you feel so down? That I, the son of a dear father, murdered, prompted to my revenge by heaven and hell. Yes, you do have a cause for revenge, your dad being killed by your uncle and all. So that's an interruption. All right, so you're going to be doing this. I'm going to give you the 'tis now the very witching hour, and you're going to interrupt it in places. So some more. Must like a whore unpack my heart with words. This is what Hamlet said yesterday. There you go with that bad self-image. And then you can see this. Let me turn you to the next one here. I have heard that guilty creature sitting at a play. You mean people who watch a play or a movie? So you're just adding information there? And then going back, have by the very cunning of the scene been struck so to the soul that presently they have proclaimed their malefactions. I've seen that too. People who are so moved by a drama. So do you kind of understand? Okay. So you are already in your partnerships right now. I'm going to give you each a piece of paper. And this is what you're going to do. I'm going to give you 'tis now the very witching hour. You're going to copy it over. You're going to pretend that Horatio's present. And you're going to create interpolated dialogue for Horatio. And what you need to do is create 12 interpolations, 12 interruptions. Okay? 12 seems like a lot because it's not a lot of text. But look at the punctuation. All right, that'll help you create this. So let me pass these out. All right. And you guys can grab some markers. Sarah, why don't you pass out some markers to people, please? Chris, can you pass out some markers as well? All right. There you go. And the soliloquy is on the board. Two different colors, please. There you go. If you need to get up and stand up, go ahead and do that.
Thank you, Roberta.
You're welcome.
Chris.
You can get up and stand up. You don't have to. Yeah. Yep. So the first thing you want to do is just write the speech on the piece of paper and leave some room in between for your interruptions. You have two different color markers?
What am I earning?
You have this. The speech? Okay.
Oh, it's not that long. So starts here. Just now.
Nope. I want you to do this now that you're witching hour. So this one right here. Okay? So you're gonna break it, you're gonna write it out first, leave some space in between, and then create your
Very witching time of night. Churchyards,
Act 3 sneak.
this is like
Correct. Yep, so you're gonna write out the speech on a piece of paper. Leave some room in between the lines.
I do agree with that. Something like that. And then when church
Now you're going to find that you might need to use a dictionary. So have that OED open so that you really understand what does contagion mean.
What?
Yeah.
when churchyards
It's now a very witching time of night.
Okay, so you know what you're doing.
Your first line and then another line with
Right. So what I would do is, 'tis now the very witching time of night, right? And I see a comma there that's a pause. It's a natural pause. So that's an opportunity for ratio to interrupt.
Yes.
Okay.
As the day would quake till it gone.
Contagion to this world. Absolutely, that would be a natural cause where you could put in an interruption. Okay? So you have to think about how is Horatio going to react to his best friend talking like this?
Just adding statements, kind of, or like
Well, it's-
agreeing, or maybe like commenting.
Commenting, agreeing, questioning, transitioning would be fine as well.
Okay. All right. So it is now the very witching time of night. Like, why do you? Is he stating this is now very witching?
What's that?
Maybe we need to look this up.
talking about like
Let's look up the word witching. Do you know what witching means?
Well, it could be.
Yes, I do.
You could, Horatio could certainly say, well, why are you so focused on like witching right now? What's going on with you?
Maybe we can just say like,
You know, because that's not necessarily a normal thing to say.
Right.
Should we look up the words?
So do you want to say like,
so did you
What is?
what do you mean by witching or something?
Yeah.
Should I say that?
Yeah. Put what do you mean by witching? What is going on, my dear?
Witching is a word you're probably going to have to look up.
I remember looking it up for evil or something.
You're so small compared to
Right.
mine. Now I feel
So
bad.
how is Horatio going to react to Hamlet saying that?
Word. Okay.
Why is
So
this time
it's another very witching time of night.
Absolutely, that's
Just like
fine.
Horatio would be like,
Clarification is
why,
fine.
What's going on?
why is this described as an evil night?
Okay.
So
Here,
like,
why don't you come wait,
Let me be cruel.
Okay, so these are some examples.
Not unnatural.
Okay? The spirit I have seen may be the devil. Horatio says, yes, perhaps he is the devil.
Maybe
but
cruel,
why
not
would he
unnatural.
look like your father? And the devil hath power to assume the position. And you really wanted to see your father after you died.
I will speak daggers to her,
Absolutely.
but use
If you have a
none.
question, if you need a clarification. No, but you do need 12. Okay? So again, 12 is a lot. So look at the punctuation. Look at the natural rest in the piece.
is that a very
You need a different color?
night? Like, why do you describe this night as like?
Sure.
Why do you describe this night in such a bad way?
Why do
No,
you
it's just image.
Yeah. Why
You draw lines.
describe this night as such a bad way?
How you guys doing?
Getting 12.
We're just writing everything down right now.
Okay.
I mean, we might have to go to the back.
That's fine. Do what you have to do.
Or, you know.
Do you want to look up some of the words while she's
Where'd you are
finishing
now?
this up?
Nero.
And what is shanking?
Enter this firm bosom.
Well, look it up.
B-O-S-O-N.
Yes. Yes.
Let me be cruel. Not
And guys, keep in mind, your interruptions don't always have to be serious.
comma.
They definitely don't have to be in Elizabethan English. If he's drinking hot blood, you know, why doesn't Horatio say, hey, why are you drinking hot blood? Why not like hot chocolate?
I will speak daggers to her.
Okay, good.
When Churchill and hell itself breaks out. Should we? I think we should continue.
But it's when hell itself breaks out or breathes out contagion to the world.
Oh, okay. Should we stop at contingent in the
To the
world?
world, yeah. You want to make sure it's a natural
What's that? Contingent.
interruption.
Why? Well, I know contagion means contagious. What words are in there, huh? I'm pretty sure that means contagious.
Marker? Or why would you consider this?
Why would you consider?
Yeah, contagious.
One contingent quality or influence. Yeah. Get out of here.
You mean contagious, right?
Yes. When churchyards yawn and hell itself breaks out, changing to this world.
So something like it's contagious to
Say something like.
about church or
He's talking about.
religion, right?
He's talking about like churchyards yawn. Like I think graveyards. He's talking about graveyards, churchyards yawn, and hell itself breaks out, contagion to this world. So like when hell breaks loose and takes over the world.
Nero is an illusion, so that's probably something.
Because contagion is like
Spreading the disease.
yeah. It's like it breaks out and spreads throughout the whole world. This madness.
Like, what does that mean? Church is yawn.
Sorry,
I don't know.
would wait to look on.
Do you guys?
I think they're particular.
Right, so it's an
All
historical
right,
illusion.
and so we could do.
Correct. But what is so horrible about Nero?
What does it mean, would quake to look on?
I've no clue.
He did some pretty nasty things.
So is he gonna do something bitter?
Sounds like it. Would do such bitter business as the
Are
day.
you guys stuck?
What?
It sounds like he's gonna screw somebody over.
When churchyards yawn, when hell itself plays out to turn into the world.
Yeah, I'm like, who do you put?
Yeah. So you don't want to break up the punctuation.
And do such bitter business as
Yeah.
the day.
So how about why not churchyards yawn?
EOD.
That's okay. We could I just said, who do you plan on hurting?
That's the wrong website too. EOD is explosive. It's working for OED, not bombs. The wrong website.
Soft now to my mother,
Soft. That's just the one you want to do.
if you want.
So it's like shaking over see this happen.
Like if you were to hear that, like
Okay, so you have a lot of questions.
and do such bitter business as the day when for exclamation soft now to my mother.
I only get the soft now.
Yeah, I don't understand the soft part.
What do you mean?
How it's fit in the sentence.
Yeah.
Is it kind of like?
Okay, well you're going by punctuation.
Yeah.
Right? So we end the thought here and do such bitter business as the day would wake to look on, period.
And then do interruption there.
I would do an interruption there because this is a transition.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Soft now to my mother.
Correct. That's a different train of thought.
Okay. So we could just add an arrow right here. Or do you want to cross this out?
Yeah, we just cross it out.
So, and do such bitter business as the day we quake on. Like,
You guys are noticing again the first half.
like, why do you need to do bitter business? Like, like what bitter business do you mean?
Or what do bitter business? What do you mean?
Closer to him, I would think. Like to.
So when he says like, oh,
Yeah,
heart,
it's to his mother. Yeah, to like his mother's a person.
Well, I know, but you said people. That's plural, right? So this
Well,
is
yeah.
a very specific person, which he is now turning his attention
Oh,
to.
because right, for the rest of it, he's talking about his mother. Okay.
So when he says, oh heart, lose not thy nature, is he saying like, don't let my heart stop?
So soft, not to my mother.
Kinda.
Oh, heart, lose not thy nature.
Like the nature of loving his mother?
Exactly. Exactly, because then what's the next thing he says?
Let not
But
ever.
not ever.
Did you look up Nero? Who Nero is?
No.
I know who Nero is. He's Roman emperor.
He's what?
He's a crazy Roman emperor.
He's a crazy Roman. Emphasis on crazy, right? So he's saying, I can't be like Nero. But that next line there, I will speak.
No.
Oh,
I'll speak daggers to her, but use none.
Yeah.
Like she's gonna have an argue. Like.
Okay.
Yeah. So we have up here, we have a more general idea, right? And then here, we have that transition, and then it goes into very specifically about mom.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Okay? That works? Absolutely.
Is there easier?
As long you can absolutely make it funny as long as it you're giving you're adding context.
So like bad business.
Don't let me lose myself. Like let not the evil soul like
Shake it a little bit.
And do such bitter business as they would quit to look on.
Alright, so talk to me, what's going on?
Well, we know what quake says, the act of trembling or shaking with religious fever.
Very bad speller.
And I always think bitter business means like bad business, basically.
Should we look up bitter?
No, we have to look
That
at
might be
it.
a word to look up.
All right, next we're doing David.
Oh heart, lose not thy nature.
It says one who has charge of a bit or fire bucket, a fireman.
Are you looking at the right definition?
Oh, there it is. It doesn't give you the forage or...
As the days go on, it's light, but like
There's all these other ones that are fine.
Are you afraid?
unless you're just simply guessing.
Like this.
Ask her.
Okay, it has to do with the taste, right? Unpalatable to the mind. Would that work here? Unpalatable to the mind. So do such bitter business.
Yeah, because it's talking about how it's making them tremble with the religious.
Right.
So it's
he's.
bothering them.
What do you mean by bothering?
Like the business is making them uncomfortable.
Okay. So it's more like this is business that most normal people wouldn't be comfortable with.
Yes. So
He's not
and do business as a day with quick look on.
So what would Horatio say to a comment like that? Hamlet's basically saying here, I'm prepared to do something that most normal people would not consider
I will
doing.
speak daggers to her, but use
And Horatio, his best friend, would say what in response to that?
What do you plan on doing?
Okay. Or what's this horrible thing that you're planning on doing?
Yeah.
Or, why?
Why is it? Yeah. Why is it so?
Yeah, and then think about the next line there, right? Would quake to look on, you have that, right? Soft now to my mother. That's a weird
Like,
transition.
don't tell my mom.
Well, it's not even don't tell my mom. Right there, it's a complete transition to mom.
Yeah. From what he's talking about.
So why is he talking about doing bitter business? So something that's kind of unnatural, and then immediately after going to mom, thinking about mom. It's like 5-7 more minutes, and then we're done. You're good? Okay. 7.
I would look up Shen.
You look very pretty today.
Are you stopping at semicolons?
We did both. Like wherever it was like a natural pause.
Wherever we felt necessary.
Yeah.
I'm getting disgrace, free, exempt,
How are you guys doing?
shent, disgraced, lost, ruined, stupefied, to hesitate. However, how in my words soever she be disgraced. All right,
So
that makes sense. In my words, she be disgraced. She is disgraced. Like
So
I'm going to
to me, she's a disgrace.
yes.
Okay.
So
And then you could be like, are you ashamed of her?
Like how he
Yeah.
feels towards his mother. So now to my mother, oh heart, it was not thy nature. I'm not gonna lose that nature. Like good, like it's good in nature, like good to
you could write.
Are you ashamed of her?
Yeah. Are you ashamed of your mother?
yeah. I feel like good natured is like
One more. Let's go. To give them seals, never my sole consent.
Yeah.
All right.
Um,
To give them seals,
or
never.
if you want to both do it at the same time.
To give the okay, what he's saying is to give them labels, to judge them. My soul could not. Like, I don't think he could not morally label his family, label his mother.
Label them as what? Oh, as disgrace.
Yeah, like he's saying.
So it's like
to
no
give
matter
them
what.
seals, never. Could I label them? My soul could not label my mother as a disgrace.
Okay. So we could say like you love her no matter what.
Right.
Okay, let's pause for a moment.
Oh, I gotta write that.
So as people are finishing up, the next step in our little process here is performance. Yeah. So we're going to do a little competition here on, first of all, who had the best interruptions, but secondly, who can perform it the best.
Our group did.
So finish up the interruptions, number one, and once they're finished up, let's start doing the rehearsal of it. So I'll give you a few minutes to rehearse, and then we'll do a little competition here. Yeah? Okay, and I have prizes. I do have prizes, and they're not stickers. So
Pencils this time.
they're not pencils either. All right. You what?
Okay.
No, you gotta do it. I would go by the punctuation.
And let me be cruel. Don't be cruel. Not unnatural.
You can kind of combine this with
Okay, put the not unnatural and then put.
It's like let me be cruel.
Yeah.
Interruption.
Are you guys done?
Don't be
No.
Okay. Start to do the
How
rehearsal.
would you rehearse it to a visiting post?
What's that?
How would you
You want to put it up here?
Like you shouldn't.
There you go. Figure out a way.
Not unnatural.
What? I'm joking.
It's like let me be cruel but not unnatural. He's like meaning like let me be cruel but not like so insane.
yeah.
Not too far.
Yeah, so
Like don't
okay,
go
good.
too far. Like
Okay, good. Don't go too far.
like don't go too far that you won't regret or something like that.
Now that I drink hot milk, don't let this get to you. And do some bitter business today.
Don't go too far.
Like don't go too far. Don't go too far.
Which one? And do such bitter business as they are quick to look on. Right. What is bitter business?
Bitter business.
Yeah, but what does that mean? What is bitter?
Bad.
Look it up.
Tastes bad, yeah.
Okay.
It says that tastes
So
bad.
business that tastes bad. So business that is
Bad.
bad business.
Bad business.
Doesn't taste good, is not acceptable, right? Okay, so and do such, so Hamlet's saying, I'm going to do such bitter business that the world will quake. So think about that for a minute. What I'm going to do is so bad that it's going to cause an earthquake.
Okay.
Okay.
So we could be like.
Say something stupid.
Well, what does he say? He says, I don't want to do it.
Something stupid to say.
Just don't kill me. I don't know.
future.
Just make sure the earthquake won't kill me.
Okay. I'll say it. Like, whatever. I mean, it makes sense.
Won't affect me.
Won't affect me?
How are we gonna react to this?
Almost like a cool. It's like this is like fully like heroish, I guess, and then it starts like soft now. Like there's like a bitter feeling of
As long as you do not go too far.
I will speak daggers to her, but use none.
Do you really wish to harm your mother? Can you just say that? You improv?
Heck yeah. My tongue and soul must be hypocrites.
At least you're not trying to physically harm her.
How in my words soever she be shed,
You'll surely do damage.
to give them seals never.
She is still your mother. Are you sure you want to go through with this and steal her happiness?
My soul consents.
Your soul is a messed up place. As many times as you want. So your soul is satisfied, Hamlet.
My soul is not satisfied. 'Tis now the very witching time of night,
Why is that, dear Hamlet?
when churchyards yawn and hell itself breathes out contagion to this world.
Contagion? That does not sound good.
Now could I drink hot blood,
Please do not drink any blood.
and do such bitter business as the day would quake to look on.
Do not do anything that you would regret.
Soft, now to my mother, O heart.
I fear for your mother.
Not by nature, let not ever. Lose not by nature, let not ever the soul of Nero enter this firm bosom.
Please, Hamlet, remain yourself. Don't let this take over.
Let me be cool, not unnatural.
Are you alright?
Yeah. Got so into it for a second.
As long as you do not go too far.
I will speak daggers to her, but use not.
Do you really wish to hurt your mother?
My tongue and soul in this be.
At least you're not trying to physically harm her.
How in my words soever she be shed,
You will surely do damage.
to give them seals never.
She is still your mother. Are you sure you want to steal her happiness?
My soul consents.
Your soul is a messed up place. That last line is just,
There we go.
it concludes it pretty well. You're messed up. That's basically all we're saying. You have problems. You need to go see a therapist. Can we have that as the last line? Your soul's a messed up place, Hamlet. Go to a therapist.
Therapy, I recommend therapy. If you want to, it's alright.
I feel like it's a bad idea.
I think we're right at enough times.
I would put that somewhere. You said, what about the queen? How is she involved?
Because that is the lingering question. Okay, so Lucy and Sarah are going to start us off. Okay, whenever you're ready.
This is now the very witching time of night.
Like kind of evil, you mean?
When churchyard's gone and hell itself breathed out.
Like when zombies come out of their graves.
Contagion to this world, now I could drink hot blood.
Please don't drink blood. That's weird.
And do such bitter business as the day.
Oh, like risky business. I don't understand.
Would quake to look on, soft now to my mother.
Yeah, run to your mommy.
Oh heart, lose not thy nature, let not ever. Excuse me, sorry.
Okay. Good.
The soul of Nero enter this firm bosom.
Don't kill your mom. That would be bad.
Let me be cruel, not unnatural.
Right, you were raised better than that.
I will speak daggers to her, but use none.
Well, I would hope not.
My tongue and my soul in this be hypocrites.
Are you threatening her?
However, in my words, soever she be shent.
So you mean no physical harm, right?
To give them seals, never, my soul consent.
Okay, so with what you're saying, you won't truly act upon what you're threatening her with.
All right, very nice. Little applause there. Good job, guys. Good job. All right, who's next? Who's next? John Tracy and Hannah, please.
Be like,
Tis now the very witching time of night,
What do you mean by witching? What's going on, my dear friend?
when churchsides yawn and hell itself breathes out contagion to this world.
What evil are you planning on bestowing upon Denmark?
Now could I drink hot blood,
Why would you ever consider such thing?
and do such bitter business as the day would quake to look on.
Who do you plan on hurting?
Soft, now to my mother.
What of your mother?
O heart, lose not thy nature.
Are you emotionally distraught?
Let not ever the soul of Nero enter this firm bosom.
Are you afraid of what you may become?
Let me be cruel, not unnatural.
You're not holding back anything, are you?
I will speak daggers, but use none.
Are you threatening your mother?
My tongue and soul in this be hypocrites.
You must be very confused.
How in my words soever she be shent,
Are you ashamed of your mother?
to give them seals never my soul consent.
You will still love her unconditionally.
Very nice. Good job. Good job. Yeah, I'll take it. All right, so we're going to do a little competition here. So those of you who want to compete, please come forward. Come on up. Come on up.
It's like I've never heard that.
All right, whenever you're ready.
What? I'm okay.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. 'Tis now the very witching time of night. What happens now? When churchyards yawn and hell itself breathes out contagion to this world. May I ask, what is this poison? Now could I drink hot blood and do such bitter business as the day would quake to look on. What is this plan of yours, Hamlet? Is this the right thing to do? Soft. Soft? Now to my mother. What about the queen? How is she involved? O heart, lose not thy nature. Let not ever the soul of Nero enter the firm bosom. What must be behind all of this, Hamlet? Let me be cruel, not unnatural. What is unnatural? I will speak daggers to her, but use none. Do not be so careful here. Think about your actions, Hamlet. My tongue and soul in this be hypocrites. Why are you holding back how you feel? You cannot be so indecisive. How in my words soever she be shent. How so? A disgrace? To give them seals never. Why can't you let this go? She is your mother. My soul consent. Are you happy now?
Nice. Well done. Well done. Excellent. All right, who else is up for a little competition?
I think my dog gets winning.
Yeah, I'm liking the prop.
What was the prop?
Come on up. Come on up. Ryan and John. You do
Yeah, John.
All right. Go for it.
'Tis now the very witching time of night,
You mean midnight?
when churchyards yawn and hell itself breathes out.
Does hell's breath really smell that bad?
Contagion to this world. Now could I drink hot blood and do such bitter business,
That really doesn't sound delightful, man.
as the day would quake to look on soft.
That doesn't even make any sense.
Now to my mother.
She's quite the woman now.
O heart, lose not thy nature.
You're clearly going to say no.
Let not ever the soul of Nero enter this firm bosom.
And how would he enter her bosom?
Not unnatural. I will speak daggers to her, but use none.
Are they sharp or dull?
My tongue and soul in this be hypocrites.
That's really not good.
How in my words soever she be shent.
Of course, she's your mother.
To give them seals never my soul consent.
How is it her responsibility?
Very nice. Very nice. I'm liking the sarcasm.
That was good.
You think Horatio's sarcastic? I'm just kidding. I liked it. Yeah. All right. Anyone else up for the competition? Once? Twice?
No.
All right. All right. So we had John, Tracy, and Hannah. We had Lucy and Sarah. We had Lauren and Julie, and then we had the two gentlemen, Ryan and John. So those are our 4 choices. Should we do a little 7-up vote?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, we'll do
Are we let's vote for Sarah?
What?
Ryan and John. And John and Hannah. Okay, heads down. Raise your hand for Lucy and Sarah. Raise your hand for Julie and Lauren. Raise your hand for Ryan and John. Okay, and for John and Hannah. All right, thank you. Okay.
It's close.
So let's. You did try very hard. It was great.
You tried hard, but sorry, Lauren, you failed.
Okay, so let's take stock of what we were doing. You can put your markers down. You can fold up your piece of paper so that they don't become a nuisance. I'll get the prize out at the end. What's the prize? Okay. So just put it in a spot that it's not going to be a nuisance. So, what do you think about this soliloquy now? I asked you at the very beginning of class, what is his mental state? What is Hamlet's mental state? So let's take a moment together as a group and look at the words, right? What do you think's going on in his head right now? What is his emotional?
He's indecisive.
Why do you say that?
Because his tone, like although it is naturally crazy, it does change and fluctuate between like severity, I guess. Like some parts are more intense than others.
Okay, so give
like
me
he kind of is trying to, I feel like in a way he's like talking to himself, like internally he's going back and forth.
Okay, so there is a change here, right?
Right.
So how he starts is not how he ends. There's some sort of a fluctuation.
Like he kind
there.
of at first is like crazy and is very set on a like revenge and being very harsh, and then in the end he kind of comes to a realization of how he needs to be. Not that he's going to be that way, but change.
Okay, and there's some sort of a change going on here. All right, someone add on to that idea. Lucy?
Well, kind of like what Lauren said, like throughout the like whole piece, like it starts off really like with all these like negative words like hell, contagion, blood, bitter. And like it kind of like ends with him just like being torn with himself, or like being more positive with like soul. I don't know. So like it feels like it just like gets like way less intense as you read it.
Okay, so less intense. Does everyone agree with that? John?
What I'm seeing is that he's literally battling against himself, but like as the angel and the demons on his shoulders. Like at the beginning of the story, he was the angel on his shoulder, like he was the pure loved Hamlet that everybody knew and like loved. But towards after having the conversation with his father, it seems to have more changed into the devil, a more darker side of Hamlet.
So, and this piece right here, you're seeing dark and devilish side of him? Okay.
Like crazy.
Okay. Amanda, what do you think?
Adding on to the like less intense and more intense.
Yeah.
I do agree with that, but also like towards the end, he like threatens his mother towards the end. So I don't really think it's less intense. That's kind of intense, threatening his mother. Like, I'll speak daggers. There.
But he would never do it.
But like threatening in a way is kind of intense.
Yeah, how do you understand this particular line, Sarah?
Well, kind of how I interpret this whole thing is how he's restless, and he's really thinking irrationally at this point. He knows that this is the time where all evil is kind of brought up, because nothing good comes out of like anything after a certain time. And with him saying, "I will speak daggers to her," he's gonna be really painful, and he's gonna hit the heart with what he says. And he, at this point, he kind of doesn't care how she feels about it or not, but in a way, he wants her to really feel the pain because of what he's going through right now, and everybody kind of brushing it off their shoulder.
Okay, good ideas here. How else do you take this line? Robert, what did you guys say about this?
Oh, which one? The speak
I
daggers?
will speak daggers to her, but use none. How did you interpret that?
That he wants her to suffer. Like he wants her to like Sarah said and everyone else said that he wants her to feel how he feels, but he doesn't want to be so harsh with her. I don't know how to phrase it.
Harsh or John?
What I think Rob's trying to get at is a verbal fight, like an argument.
Okay.
Whereas I will use daggers, he's going to get into a fight with his mother, but use none. So he's not talking about a fight with his words.
He's not talking about a fight with his words?
No, he's talking about a fight with his words.
With his words?
Yeah.
Holly?
It's like he'll kill her with his words, like in another, like just an interpretation of that.
Kill her with his words. Morgan?
I think that he wants to take away her happiness, because I think that's what shent means. When I looked it up, it was something like joy or happiness. So he wants to take away like all that she has. So he's essentially like killing her spirit. He's not actually harming her physically.
Yeah, killing her spirit. Robert?
I think what I was trying to say is, like, verbally he wants to, make her feel unhappy, but he doesn't actually want her to go through the same physical situation that he went through, but he wants her to feel the way that he does.
Very good. All really great ideas. Really great ideas. I think that from walking around, all of you guys could kind of see the construction, how this soliloquy is constructed. Okay, so we saw that there is that transition here. So the top, right? It's crazy. It's environmental. He's talking about graveyards, right? And evil being yawned onto the world. But then he transitions specifically to mom. And when you think about what he wants to do to mom, is this what normal people want to do to mom?
No. Sort of. Not at all.
All right, so let's take mental stock here. Soliloquies, right? They are meant to reveal the inner workings of the mind, the emotional state of the characters. Where are we on the crazy scale?
Pretty crazy.
With Hamlet?
Like 5. I say a solid 7.
So we have 5 here.
About 4.5.
4.5.
4.5. Yeah, it's a high 5.
Yes.
Well, it's just because he literally physically, it's not physically, he's mentally thinking, like, I'm so mad at her. I want her to suffer. I want her to feel the pain that I'm feeling. And he wants to say it because he knows he can't do it because it's unnatural.
Okay. Yeah, and why is that unnatural? Why is that important to note?
Because as a child, you should always, I mean, maybe if you go religiously, on your mother and father,
right.
You know what I'm saying? So to do something unnatural, as in to harm them or, physically hurt them in any sort of way or displease them would be wrong.
Good point. Ellie?
I think he's a 4 because like he still has like morals in the way that he's not gonna physically hurt his mom.
That's important to note.
Yeah.
Crazy people have morals too, though. Like Michael Myers, he killed everybody but his mom.
That's also important to know. That's also important to know. All right, so we are closing up here. The last thing that I would like you to do with your partner on the back of your sheet, so I'll hand these back to you, or just a small little space, whatever. I want you to make a prediction. Based on this speech. What is Hamlet going to do? And have a piece of evidence to support that, please. So the last couple of minutes, you have with that. This is your guys. Can you give that to me, please? Thank you. Alright, so just rate on the back. What is Hamlet going to do? And what's that piece of evidence that you have that supports it?
Really attack he's on
A prediction you said?
One prediction, what he's going to do next, and what's the evidence to support that?
Still more or less crazy.
This isn't clear.
Talking to himself. But he's debating whether he should be still crazy.
Some sort of emotional.
I'm just starting out.
Alright, your homework is on the board. Please keep in mind that to be or not to be project. I put the exemplar on Moodle so you can take a look at it. Thank you, sir. Thanks very much.